Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have put on your suits, your dresses. You've got cravats on because, ladies and gentlemen, it's the end of the Uniball season. There's obviously some varsity games left to go, but in terms of the cup, in terms of the championships, it's all over. We know who's the top dog. We know who in the Prem was the alpha, and we know who Div 2 is amazing. Well, they're all amazing at Div 2, but who were the champions? Obviously, we got a lot to talk about. All the Uniball games, and also look at all this lovely new branding that we've got. What's that about? You know what it's about if you've been watching. We'll get into that as well. Hopefully, we'll have a couple of guests on, and then we're gonna talk to you about maybe some ideas for the Uniball awards, the Sport Tank Awards. You know, I wouldn't call them the Tankies because that would be a bit strange, but we will keep going. So we're going to start, obviously, with Uniball. Great weekend. Obviously, Nottingham versus the Bullets, called the greatest Uniball game ever played. And you know what? It was absolutely fantastic game. But we're going to start with the Division 1 match between the Newcastle Raiders and the SGS Pride. In terms of our predictions, it was all fair. Obviously, it was all fairly one-sided to the Pride, but scores-wise, the only person who had any points for Newcastle Raiders was myself, so I'm going to take that victory. Newcastle Raiders had a good game, but as I said, SGS Pride were going to be the winners after it was all said and done. However, I will say, now this is interesting, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it, Steve, and actually all the people watching it, because if you're watching this show, you probably watch the finals. So, SGS Pride. First time I've seen them live. Obviously, you hear amazing, amazing things. But I thought that they were going to be... Obviously, they're a well-oiled machine, but I thought they were going to be perfect. Last week I said the Bullets versus Pride will be the match to watch. After watching that, I think the Bullets would beat the Pride. And I wasn't sure of that last week. What are your thoughts on the Pride, Steve?
Yeah. So first of all, before I share my points, I just want to point out that a couple of coaches in the game, have said he's called it Sports Tank, which we expected people to say. It's actually Sport Tank, one word. But thank you, Russ, for saying you signed up and love the website. Coach Rain says he likes it as well, which is cool. First one says overrated. I hope he's talking about SGS Pride and not my website, but I assume he is because Versman ain't afraid to say what he wants, and obviously they're Bristol rivals in the Prem now, which is cool. So my thoughts on that. You asked my thoughts on the game or the SGS versus UE if they were to play each other now?
Give me thoughts on the game Newcastle versus SGS Pride.
The score was closer than I thought it would be, but it was still a very one-sided game. I never thought that Newcastle were looking like even scoring. I mean, there's some good players on Newcastle's side, especially their linebackers there, and their D line was nice and solid. But yeah, really, they were no match for them, and the scoreline for me flat as Newcastle. I don't think they were, I don't think they were as good as that scoreline suggests compared to some of the other games that we've seen. So I think, Pride worthy winners. I don't think Newcastle were a bad team. I'm really excited to see what they can do in the Prem, but I don't think that they're that close in capability and in terms of the quality of their play as SGS Pride.
The worst part is, or not the worst part, but during that game there was a safety.
Which said I am website is great. Sorry.
which went in favour of the Raiders. The worst part is someone who I was with just jokingly said, £10 this will be a safety, and I was like, no, they can't be safety. Just straight through. Unbelievable. Big loss for me there. Big loss of 10 British pounds.
Couple of questions, a couple of statements here, which are quite interesting. Both teams misfired, very nervy, interesting, and Coach Raines has sort of supported that, as saying finals make a difference. You've never been in a final, have you, Teb? So I suppose you can't.
Oh no, unfortunately not. And given your hatred of Div 2, I think even if I said yes, you'd say fucking doesn't matter anyway. So
I only hate Div 2 because it winds you up. I actually quite like Div 2, and both of those Div 2 finals that I watched were enjoyable. One was heavily. Well, they were both one-sided to a degree. One was heavily one-sided, obviously. But, So it's an interesting point about the finals because, I suppose you do get nervy because you're like, you've come all this way. You can't, you don't want to slip up. You certainly don't want to be the one that makes a mistake that lets the team down. But at the same time, like, I also get energized by that. Like, if I think of, like, I've played in 2 finals, won them both, and it's just to say, all right, I'm just saying it. I've won 2 finals. I've been in 2. I've won 2, and if I think back to both of those games, they were quite a number of years apart. But in both of those games, I feel that I played probably my best performances, probably my top 10 best performances in my whole life. So I think, I don't know. I think, it probably, I don't know. It depends on you and how you prepare and how you are. Like, I loved it. I suppose you don't want to lose, but I get really excited by that stuff, and it made me want to play play really well, and make sure that I wasn't the one messing up. Make sure that every read, every step, everything is perfect. So I think it's an interesting point because I don't think I think the teams that I played in the finals we had better performances outside of the final, leading up to it as a team, but we did enough to win the final, right? But I would say my personal performance, like how I felt I did, was always good. So I think it's interesting. I can't think of anyone that I know that's really choked, like a player that's just like completely like just caved in, just couldn't do it or whatever in a final. I'm sure a lot of people will know people that have done that, but it's never happened to me. I've seen it in films, but it's never happened to someone I know.
So what finals were you in?
They were both Div 1 finals. So one in 2008, that was an undefeated season, and then the other one in 2016 or 17, and that was undefeated apart from one. So we lost one game in the league. Both of the final nights, both Div 1. Sorry.
No, I said I wasn't sure who it was for, but I assumed it would be the final nights.
Yeah, 2007. Coach Raines knows, he was there. We won 47-7, I think, something like that.
Against who?
The Ipswich Cardinals, the American-laden Ipswich Cardinals.
Honestly, don't get me started on Ipswich Cardinals. We had them last year, and there was a lovely American on that team who was very lovely. Very lovely to all the Ouse Valley players. Very lovely. What a guy. Give him words of encouragement.
Who's
lovely,
this?
Lovely guy. I believe he kicked a ref at one point and got banned for a few games from Ipswich. Or something like that. He kicked someone.
What year
and he got banned for a while. Last year.
Wow, right.
Yeah.
Coach Raines coming up and saying 2015 was the other one. Yeah, I thought it was 15 or 6. I thought it was 17, but yeah.
See, that's
far ago.
That's the problem, Steve, is that you've won so many, they all just blend into one at some point.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're an elite player.
Yeah.
Although it's funny, right? This is sort of sad, and I know this isn't about me, but I just want to say one thing. Like, I was thinking about what are my best plays that I've been involved with and best performances, and the single best play that I could talk. I'm not going to tell you about, but I could tell you about that I believe is my best play. Happened in my first season when I was like 11 years old.
Oh.
So like I peaked at 11. I've been
immediately,
chasing that ever since. But a close second was a game from that 2015, a play from that 2015 game where right at the end of the game I stripped the ball out of the running back's hands, and then we recovered it. And then we kept the ball, charged down the field, scored, and then that was game. So that was like,
well, mate, because me and you got
amazing
different
for me.
levels. Me and you got different levels because I got a fumble recovery last year, and that was highlight of mine. I literally
Yeah, see,
highlight of my life.
I like to be the one causing the fumbles. That's what I like doing. I like to smack the person as hard as I can, cause the fumble, let someone else jump on it. I don't think I've ever recovered my own fumble that I've caused.
Yeah, especially because I got off to the sideline, and I was immediately told if you recover a fumble and you're an O-lineman, it doesn't count, which is true. It shouldn't count at all because that's not positive.
It's just that everyone's like, "Oh right, yeah, cool, let's play again."
Yeah, great. We got to have a second or third down. Fantastic. Yeah. We didn't give up the ball in our own territory. Yeah, great. But I was key. I forget. I probably remember what game that was, but.
Mike Island wishes us a happy Sport Tank Day. We should have probably made a deal out of it. I was just busy, so I just wanted to get it out.
Yeah,
I haven't made such a big deal of it yet.
That's why when you did it, I was like, "Are you not happy about it?" And because I expected some fanfare, but I just assumed it was because this has been such a ball ache. You've just been like, "Oh Christ, just get it,
relief,
just get it out."
Yeah, we wanted to get it posted for, as you know, over a year, really, but in more recent months, it's felt like every week was going to be the week, right? So it's good that it's out, and there's a lot more to come for it, a lot more development and stuff, and because you can see, as you can see at the top of the screen there, we've only at the moment got home media, which is all the articles and stuff and live streams, game day, which is all the scores and league tables, and then the Amity Fund, and that's it. Like a lot of the stuff we stripped back to bring back in. So it's been a nightmare, but we got there. So anyway,
let's move on. Let's move on to what is being billed as the greatest Uniball game of all time.
What a game.
Bullets versus Nottingham Gold. Honestly,
I thought you said the Blitz. Sorry, you said the Bullets.
No. So the scoreline, I believe, SJ got the closest. I think he said something like 34-18. I had 14-34 to the Bullets. I could not have predicted that game. No. It was to the point where obviously I predicted the Bullets, and I was thinking, oh God, if they win it. So, and someone I was there with, they're from Nottingham, and he throughout that game he was turning around to me, looking at me, and honestly I was getting spicy armpits. It was
it was Christmas.
It was stressful.
It was such a good game, man. I loved it. I loved it. I was even leaning forward towards the end of it. I was on my sofa and I actually sat up. There was no reason to sit up. I had the same view, but I was so anxious about it and excited by it. And I'm a neutral, right? I love the sport, but I didn't have a dog in the fight. I was just really excited about the end of the game.
Yeah, simply amazing. And I think, the Bullets have been dominant all season. So when I look at that game and that scoreline, God, you have to give a lot of credit to Notts. You have to give a lot of credit to Notts Gold. Simply an unbelievable performance. They've put that loss to Leeds Beckett completely behind them. That shook my confidence in them, but that was very much wrongly placed for Nottingham Gold, and simply an amazing game.
£10. Oh, that was the fee, wasn't it? Yeah. For us normies, it was a tenner to get in. But for the students, it was a fiver. Yeah, absolutely. It was quality. But yeah, what a show! And I've made some notes that I wanted to sort of talk about. One of the main things that was talked about, because there was live streams, there was different chats going on about it. People were posting on. I was going to say Sport Tank, but we were called Gridiron Hub back in those days, and it's crazy how quickly people move on. One thing that kept coming up, and I'm sure everyone watching the game observed it, was the sheer number of flags. Now, maybe even that the way of wording that is maybe wrong, because it sort of points to the refs being the problem, right? But it's the number of, I don't know, the amount of improper play, right? Fouls. It was the number of fouls that happened. It's interesting because I've seen a load of, like, an array of views on it, right? Some people saying, oh well, these refs don't know how to ref elite games. Some people saying, well, if there's a flag, the refs are going to throw the flags. If these players are doing it. I don't. The bit that I sort of, my view on it is, if you've got 8 officials, you're going to get more flags.
Yeah.
Because there's more stuff being watched. And so if you've gone through a season of only having 4 or 5 officials for every single game, and then all of a sudden you're at a game in a final and there's, it wasn't just that final, it was all of the playoffs. All of a sudden you're playing in front of eight refs. It's, I can understand how you've picked up, like, I don't know about bad habits, but just understand, like, you picked up the culture of that sport, right? And how the refs manage the games. And so it felt like it was completely against the way that the refs, like in the league game, operate, because there were so many of them. That's how I sort of look at it. I don't blame. Yes, there were a couple of calls that were like, that was ridiculous, but what game doesn't have that, and in what sport doesn't have it, right? Like, you're always going to get those sort of calls that you're like, God, that was ridiculous. And I don't, that's human error. I don't really care about that stuff. But I think one of the coaches told me there was around 40 flags in the game. I know, it was funny because I thought it'd be good to go back and count all these flags, and someone did. I mean, that's just ridiculous, right? And I'd love to see the stats of like where the ball was, who had possession, what the penalty was, what the yardage lost was, or the yardage gained. I'd love to see like a proper breakdown of all of that data. But yeah, it definitely featured in the game. Like it, and one of the Toby, the head coach of the Sheffield Warriors. Sheffield Giants, the senior, the senior side. He posted saying like how it had like ruined the game, and it was spoiling it. And I said it was really tough watching the game because it was so stuttery, and it felt like we were watching a scrimmage at times. Like, we're going to reset this play and we're going to try it again, and it just, you couldn't, like, game plan didn't feel like it came into it. But then when there was a period, and there was about a quarter or maybe a little bit longer than a quarter, where it didn't feel there was a flag thrown or flags weren't as prevalent. Yeah. In that period of time, UE were visibly dominant, like on all sides of the ball. And so like that, that sort of said to me, like, UE are the better side here, and like Nottingham aren't bad, but there's benefits to this type of play for them. I think UE are, if it was like a fluid game as normal, UE would be able to play at a tempo and a pace that Nottingham would not be able to keep up with. But yeah, but like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Nottingham. I just think UE were the superior side, and they won in the end, which is fine. Like, but I think that the flags, whether they were justified or not, I don't think that's the point. But the sheer volume of the flags is what made the game, I don't know, not unwatchable, but it was just tough. Like for a spectator to sort of.
Well, I'll tell you what was tough, Steve. Obviously, like, the game was stopping and it kicked off late. Just the time getting out of there. I started.
That wasn't on stream, mate. Sorry, I didn't realise.
No, yeah, because you were at home watching it. I had to get in the old wagon and drive back after it ended.
Look at first and top up. One of the drives had over 150 yards of offense. Keep in mind, we started on the 25-yard line on a 90-yard field. Jesus, that's a great stat, Fersman. Thanks for sharing.
Honestly, so, yeah, I'd love to see if someone has like the stat, or even like will do it. Go back and look at how many yards were lost or gained just simply through flags. Because in the third quarter, it was much less, because we were saying over under 9 flags for the third quarter, not the second half. The third quarter, it was under. I believe it was 7. But just there was a real time in which it was, flag city.
And do you know how many league changes there were in the game in terms of obviously the score? you know how many times the lead changed?
No.
I count as four times, which is
Oh,
awesome. Like, how good's that for a final at the top level? Like, so there were 4 lead changes. I've marked down 2 plays. Like, I've just wanted to mention 2 plays, one from each team that I thought were like impressive or crucial to the game. The first one for Nottingham, that kick return, the timing of it,
don't.
the blocking, the angles, it was just what a play. What a play. To do it at that point in the game where you've just conceded a touchdown. Obviously, you've just conceded a touchdown because it's a fucking kickoff. But like the game was looking like, all right, you are fucking turning the nut here. This is sort of game over, and then bang, they were straight back in it. So that, and I'm sorry I don't know the player's name, but I just thought that. But it wasn't just the player; it was the whole team that were just like, no one was giving up. Like, we're just going to throw blocks until the cows come home, and it was awesome. Yeah, sorry, I'm not. First Minster special teams coordinator. Sorry, mate. I didn't do that on purpose. I hope you can appreciate. Green has said I blame the UE special teams coordinator. Yeah. So it was just a great play. It was so exciting to see that, and it just like it kicked like a spark into that latter part of the game. And then
the worst part is Fursman didn't Fursman promise a special teams touchdown for Bullets?
Oh, yeah, he mentioned it. I don't know if he promised one. There was a special teams touchdown, so he was true on his word. It just wasn't for the Bullets. And then the other play. Now this one is more of a strategic call that I just thought was genius, and it was 4th down. They were in the red zone. Sorry, we're talking about the Bullets now. 4th down, they were in the red zone. They were like, I think 3 to 4 yards out, and they took a timeout, come back, and they'd never done it all season. And Frankie Pankhurst, the offensive coordinator, called a hard count, and the Notts D-line jumped it, and it gave them an automatic 1st down. And like, for me, that was like just fantastic play calling. So it wasn't necessarily a play. They still had to execute the play, but it wasn't an athletic ability or anything. It was just good discipline, well executed. But the call from Frankie to do that at that time was just tremendous, So yeah, did a hard count, ballsy play. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think about that. I know people might disagree. I can see Tebbs has gone, so hopefully I'm still on. Yeah, yes, I am aware, Russ. I'm glad you can hear it. I wasn't sure if you could, so I'm going to change my headset when Tebbs comes back. I don't know what's going on with my audio. It's winding me up. I've changed from my normal mic, this one, to this one. Nothing's stopped, so I'll fix the cackle. That's what I was referring to. Tebbs is back. So
sorry
Tebbs,
about that.
It's all right, mate. I'm just going to, if you could just keep everyone entertained, I'm just going to swap my headset over because Russ has confirmed that there is a cackle on my mic with it. I thought so.
Yeah, so this just seems to happen on the rundown. Simply just how it works. There's got to be one, and it's normally from me. So, or Steve doesn't press the live button. But yeah, it was that special teams touchdown again. As I said, I was with someone who was supporting Nottingham. Obviously, I was like, Bullets have scored. I was exactly like sort of Steve was like, this is over. He runs it back, and my mate just turns around and looks at me with a big shit-eating grin on his face, just to let me know that I need to shut up. But it was electric. It was nice and loud up in the balcony of where we were, and people complaining about the view. The view was fine. I could see you could see everything on through the cage. You could if you were tall like me, but it happens. It happens. I'm gonna wait for Steve to get back just in case he wants to discuss anything. Bullets deserved it. Now they're 2-time champs, 3-time champs if depending on who you're talking to. But
can you hear me now?
I can do, but it sounds like it's about a £2 mic you're working on.
Great. Okay, let me try something else.
Radical. You know what? Because Steve's not here, I want to move on to Div 2 because he can't stop me.
What about now?
Oh, okay. Steve's back.
No, it's just done it again.
He's broken it.
Yeah, it's killing me.
So, Div 2, Liverpool Raptors 32, Glasgow
Tebbs,
Uni
how does that
Tigers.
sound?
Still like
Doing
it's
it.
about a £2 mic.
Fuck off. Right, I'm gonna have to try and drop off. I'm worried about it. I can drop off without it kicking the string, can't I?
Well, I hope so. You've done it before, so.
Cool. Well, good luck, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and restart my computer and see how it goes. Bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, stand by. Stand by. Whoa, we're still here. So, Div 2. Liverpool Raptors versus the Glasgow Uni Tigers. We all picked Liverpool last week. All the week previous, both. We picked them both that week. Glasgow 3, Liverpool Raptors 32. But it's one of those very strange situations in that Glasgow go up. They go up. It's fine. But Liverpool, not so much. But I find that mental because that's very dominating. Fair to Liverpool. And people were complaining about the live stream for the Liverpool Glasgow game, and I just want to say that wasn't us. That was just some lovely people who were doing the game. And I have got the name Paulo. I believe it was Paulo Weenie. That's the name that I constantly kept hearing throughout the stream. And he was a really good player. He was like the kicker, and he was everything. But that name's burned into my head. Like, I can't forget it now. I might as well get it tattooed on my arm. But then also moving on, Greenwich Mariners, their sort of fairy tale run has come to an end at the behest of the Bournemouth Uni Bobcats, 19-37. I picked Bournemouth, not particularly surprised, but Greenwich Mariners put up a good fight. But towards the end of the game, it just simply got away from them. And we're here at Sport Tank, I guess, Gridiron Hub, but Sport Tank primarily now, because that's what it is. I wanted to thank the people who put those live streams on, because they seem to be done in quite quick turnaround, which is great because, I do enjoy Div 2, but there's no way that, me or Steve or SJ was at Greenwich, but I'm not going up to Liverpool. I was busy Sunday. Yes, sorry. If it was near, or just one of the Midlands teams just win, so I don't have to travel very far. That's the only reason why I like Midlands so much, because I don't have to travel very far. But Bournemouth Bobcats, obviously Coach Rains, our own Hayden, who makes some of our graphics as well, they won a complete sweep. I think they're going to be very, very good at Div 1. Obviously, Greenwich Mariners, they don't go up. They didn't win their division, but they came back. They came back throughout. Like, start of the season wasn't particularly great. Second half of the season was very, very good. But I don't know what to say. It's sort of it's the end, and with the Bullets Nottingham goal game, I think that caps off a season very well. And last week we went through some of the players all the teams that are going to be successful, and I think Bournemouth and Liverpool are both one to watch. Obviously, Newcastle, I think it could be slightly easier on them because, teams such as Sterling Klansman, I feel like they are going to struggle a bit just with all of the strife that has happened with them regarding the head coach and how that things. I don't know a lot about that. It's difficult to find out things, and it's not like I can go up to Sterling and ask. But I think they've got a very good possibility of going down. Teams like Dowie Braves also coming down could be very interesting. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. There's varsity games left to play, but they're so intermittent that it's difficult to really pinpoint those. Like, if we see them come through, we'll we will put the scores up. But because they're so intermittent, we can't reliably do that all the time. Because I know that there's Gloucestershire versus Worcester Royals, and that one's a very strange one because Worcester Royals, they dropped out at the sort of the beginning of the season, but they've still maintained the players to play a varsity game, which I think is very strange. If you can't, I guess the issue wouldn't have been that they couldn't field a team, but it's very interesting that they have continued to train, apparently, strictly for the Gloucestershire Gladiators game. Hello, Steve.
Hello, mate. Can you hear me okay?
I can't. It's a bit. Still, I don't know what you've done. Did you drop the mic at some point?
No, I've tried different mics. They're still doing the same thing. I don't know what it is. I want to just try and unplug loads of shit. I'll come back in a minute.
Hold on, Steve.
We've lost the stream down on Facebook.
Oh, okay. So we just keep going.
Well, hold on. Let me just see what it says. I'll try and fix it.
Okay, I'll keep talking after I message. Well, it's nice to see that we keep the tradition going here at Sport Tag. We've carried over from Gridiron Hub. We can definitely see that this is in fact still a Gridiron Hub production because we are still struggling with technical difficulties. But, ladies and gentlemen, not from me today, and that is what matters more to me, not to Steve, but to me, and it matters to me, and that's what's important to me. So yes, Worcester Royals, they didn't play any of their league games, but they're playing Gloucestershire Gladiators. Very interesting. People, I know one of the people at Gloucestershire, they comment a lot. I might have to talk with you. Maybe, hopes and dreams come true. I can go back to uni this year, and hopefully it'll be for Gloucestershire. So you might have an O-Lineman with a terrible knee coming down to see you. Hopefully. So in terms of Sport Tank, ladies and gentlemen, I can sort of go through it with you. I wish we could have done a better job of doing it, but as we said earlier, Steve just wanted to get the damn thing out, and sort of being on the inside of it, I can definitely see why that was the case. It was numerous setting, there'd be something wrong. But as Steve said, as it continues to grow, we're going to continue to add more features so you can have your own profile, so you can put your stats on there. So hopefully you could impress the right people, and they can have a look at you. Who knows? Maybe in NFL International Combine, they'll come knocking. I'm not going to be there. I'll be there as a reporter again. That's about it, ladies and gentlemen. It is hot here it's a hot day here in Coventry. It's too hot to be wearing a suit. But ladies and gentlemen, one thing that we didn't mention at the top of the hour is that, much like the Ted Bet Tips episode for the Super Bowl, not this year, last year, I've got a cowboy hat here, and there will be liquid struck out of it, but we will do that later on in the show, hopefully when Steve gets his microphone back in. So as we're talking about football, our focus will now sway to the senior season, which is due to start very, very soon, with Steve hopefully going to play for the Solent Thrashers, I believe. It's going to be mainly up to the Breens, bringing back their show Brit Ball with the Breens. Very good. They get on guests, they get on coaches, they get on players. It is simply fantastic. So that will be coming in the next few weeks. So keep an eye on that. Then we've got things like the flag leagues. They're starting up. We've obviously got the Irish League, which we will endeavour to cover more on Sport Tag. We just wanted to get Sport Tag launched first before anything else sort of began, and we are able to do that. But let's talk some more about football, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. I am. People giving me they were telling me, Chris, Tyreek Hill, that's a good deal. What? Daylight robbery, ladies and gentlemen. 28-year-old receiver. Good receiver, great receiver. 28 years old. first round pick, second round pick, fourth round pick, 2 picks next year. Disgusting. Foul. I feel ill. I don't want that. How am I going to get a Tyreek Hill jersey? That's none of your business. But this is how it goes. And hopefully we're going to get some more guests on as we close out the season. I'm going to have some more orange juice, ladies and gentlemen. Make of that what you will. It was delicious. It's one of those things, just due to sort of moving around, where am I going to be? I'm not sure if I'll play senior ball this year. If I do, it'll be for the Bombers. Just because, I'll probably move there, then it's expensive to drive down to Bedford from Coventry, especially because, I just got a new job yesterday. Or today, actually, because today's Monday. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to endeavour to keep this going until Steve messaged me and tells me otherwise. Because he's got a lot more to say than I do. Again, not too much in the BAFRA report this week. In fact, there's only one thing, and that was number 53 for the SGS Pride. He stepped on an ankle position player. Never good, but he's not going to be able to play his first game of the senior season, as I'm sure that he is likely to do, just based on the fact that he is a member of SGS Pride. We won't give his name up because why would we? But have a look on the Sport Tank website, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a gem. It is a gem. More things will be added. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, you can get a t-shirt, a hoodie. But hopefully, we'll be able to come to your American football team, your flag football team, your Uniball team, give away some things for you. You can wear them with pride. If you can't get a ring, if you can't get a cup, next best thing is some Sport Tank merch, ladies and gentlemen. It's the next best thing. That's why I have no rings and 1 Sport Tank hoodie. I know we have 5 Sport Tank merch and no rings. I'd rather have 1 ring and no Sport Tank merch. No, that's a joke because Steve's probably watching. It's very difficult to find someone there, but I endeavour to do so. It's been a fantastic season. So it's been a lot of ups and downs. I think it just proves how sort of unique Uniball is as a concept. Just because we've had so many things that have that have gone on. Whether it's blowout losses, draws, a couple of 0-0 draws. More controversial things such as DMU, the DMU Lions, and their sort of tomfoolery in Midlands too. There's a lot. There's a lot to cover, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, next week we would like to hold the Britball or the Uniball Awards. Who's the best team? Who do we think the best team is? Who's the best coach? Who's got the best kit? Because it needs to be things that we can realistically track, ladies and gentlemen. Because not a lot of Uniball teams will film all their games, and they're very not likely to send them to us. So we can't see these huge plays. It'd be nice if they did. If you're an American football team, a Uniball team head coach, and you got some great clips, send them in. We'll look at them. We'll tell you what we think is good. If there's someone out there, there's a team out there that's doing a tackle screen. Congratulations, you already won. You're a winner in my eyes. And and I can't send you anything. Maybe the Super Bowl ring, not a real one. Look at that. But I can still send you something. I need to stop pulling my headphone cord. God, my hair's awful. It does look like, it's sort of all falling apart. But I don't think it is. The only thing that's falling apart is just how damn hot it is in here. And that's not just me saying that because I've got a lovely suit on. But God, it's roasting. I don't want to put the fan on, but you'll hear the fan, and that's just unprofessional. He says with his hair like this. So yeah, if you've got any ideas for what awards we could do, then please send them in. Put them in the comments of the video. We will go through them piece by piece. We'll see what is doable and what isn't. Things like Player of the Year, we can't necessarily do. I would love to say, give me my boy Dan, but I can't just give it to him. It's got to be something done. But hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's not good quality though.
Fucking, how bad quality is it?
No, that's good quality now. That's fine now.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
No, don't worry
I just
about
give
it.
up on my computer. I don't know what the fuck's going on with it.
But yeah, I've sort of gone through the old everything, Steve.
What, the awards thing and all that?
I've gone through the awards. I've said about Sport Tank. I've sort of given a brief rundown of all the good stuff.
What about the Div 2 games? The Div 2 finals?
I mean, I've done those.
Wow.
Whether or not you want to put your 2 cents on it is completely up to you. But
I'll talk about. I do want to talk about the 2 Div 2 games.
That's a shame, Steve, because we're gonna wrap this up. I'm joking.
Okay, mate. Yeah, I'll just talk to you about it then.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, I obviously Glasgow and Liverpool was just massively one-sided. It felt like Glasgow had just given up at sort of one point, but then there was the odd player that was just going for it still. It was quite. I found it quite difficult to watch it. And then for the that's what that is. I wonder what that was then. The Bobcats against Greenwich was, a bit more exciting. It was still one-sided, but not as bad. I think the Bobcats looked to me as though they just sort of knew how to neutralise the threats of the Mariners, and I think that's what it was. The Mariners were a good side, or are a good side, and there was one play in particular that I was talking to someone about earlier, which was quality, right? So, and it was actually a play that I turned my head away from because I thought it had finished because I was like doing stuff on my computer while I was watching the game, and it was the Bobcats QB was like running, sort of got to the sideline, got tackled, and that's when I turned away. But it turned out he didn't get tackled. He realised that he hadn't touched the floor in a legal way, so knees or elbows didn't go down, and he popped straight back up and carried on running down the end.
I believed I saw that peripherally as well. Peripherally.
So I liked the play. Like, that was definitely a standout play. But what I learned in my conversation today was this quarterback. He's a young lad. This is his first season playing 11v11, and like that sort of like mentality, like that know-how to be able to just keep going and get the most out of a play is just like, for a young player to show that is fantastic, right? Like it's a tremendous heads up play from a QB to be able to do that. So I think he deserves a lot of praise.
And if he's young, then that says to me that he's probably going to be on Bournemouth going into
next year.
See, if you've got to play with that sort of know-how of the game sort of already built in, and they've got maybe a couple of years left at a team that's moving up, that could prove very difficult for some of the Div 1 teams when he's there.
I'm assuming this is the guy's name. So yeah, I'm sorry I didn't know his name, but Raynard has popped on and said his name's Alfie Burke. So thanks, Moses. Thanks, Raynard. Appreciate that. Sam said Alfie's quality, one to watch at All Stars. So yeah, it's good to see that people like sharing.
Oh, is he going to be at All Stars?
I can't profess, and I think you probably covered this in the awards thing. neither of us can really profess to have a really in-depth knowledge of the sport, and we're trying to show, you know, coverage and build that, and with the Sport Tank stuff we've got will help with that. So like, go on for Sport Tank and build out your profiles, because you can build out a profile right now. That's one of the new features we've launched. I'll be doing some giveaways and stuff for it to get people to build them out. But with that knowledge, we'll start to build an understanding of players, and we can bring that into our coverage. Someone, Declan said, a brilliant season of yous predicting us to lose every week, and we're Div 1 North champions. Declan, I think you might have not got the memo, but we were doing that jokingly in cohorts with some of your players. But point taken. But again, point taken.
We all picked Liverpool last week.
Yeah. Well, actually, did you make the point that the 4 finalists that we said are going to win, the champions, we picked all the champions out?
Yeah. Me and Steve got.
That's amazing.
Me and Steve got all the winners right. We didn't get all the scores right, but we got all the winners right. So
yeah. So no one can argue with us. We're elite, but we don't know the details, so we can't. Like I said, we can't pick like the best QB or the best play, or because we just the information isn't there, and really to do it would just be to like talk bullshit and nonsense. And I don't want to provide. I want to provide authentic coverage of the sport based on what we can, you know. And so we do want to do some sort of awards, and I'm sure you've already said this, but that's another example of it. You know, like names like Alfie pop up. Alfie's going to be so Coach Rains has just popped up and said Alfie's going to be at the Solent Seahawks this summer, his first year of uni. So unbelievable! What a great player he is, like that we only really get names come to us, and we'll remember them. You know, like obviously what was the QB's name that you were talking about, Tebbs, that you love?
What do you mean? What was his name?
I'm not going to remember his name. I remember my people's name.
The Big Johnson, mate. That's his name.
Sam Johnson, is it?
No, Dan Johnson, I think.
Dan Johnson. There's a Sam Johnson here, but that's S. Is that?
Yeah, that's SJ. I'm not talking about SJ.
Yeah. No, I know. And then.
Yeah, I'm not talking about him.
Like,
I mean, if SJ wants an award, I'll try and figure one out to give to him. But
the SJ award. Yeah, so like that's the thing. Like, so we do want to do something to sort of recognise good play and stuff, but we don't know. One thing that I do want to that did come up in the comments, and GB Junior's turned Alfie down, too small. That needs a rethink. Yeah, certainly does. What a player he is, man. And I didn't know this, and it was a coach that contacted me, and I think thought I knew it, you know. Because was asking me about it, but then ended up in educating me. Div 2, the cup, the conference cup. There's no the players from both sides don't get a winner's medal, and the champions don't get a trophy. Did you know that? I think I've lost him. I have lost him, haven't I? Or maybe he's doing a really good like freeze impression. No, he's gone. So I found that quite upsetting. I don't know. I just think it's unfair. I watching one thing I did see from the what's this? They get a bag of medals like a few weeks later. Do they? Okay. Cheers to that, actually. I didn't realise that. But yeah, just sort of, I don't know, like I know that I take the piss out of Div 2, but it's really because of Tebbs. Like, I see the value of Div 2, you know. I'm not some fucking elitist, but I just like, and certainly from the games I saw in the finals, there were great players and really good play. The disrespect on Div 2 is crazy. Yeah. But it's funny. It's like, I was thinking about this today. It's like the best teams in Div 2, like the Bobcats, I think they'd give most teams in Div 1 a run for their money. You know, like they were a really good side. And probably, you know, the Mariners on a good day, I don't think they had the best of days. You know, I think they were just shut down, right? But they were still a good side. You know, they still had some really good sparks of play in it. So I think it's one of the other talking points that's quite interesting is the Liverpool Raptors. From what I understand, and I don't know too much about this, but from what I understand, the Liverpool Raptors won the final for the second time on the bounce, and will remain in Div 2 next year because of the way the promotion from Div 2 to Div 1 works. I just think that's really bad. I don't know. I think someone said it needs a rethink, and I think that's probably about as far as I've got with it as well. Like, I don't have a solution for that, so maybe I should sort of like not comment too much. But I can sort of see the problem is that it's hard to sort of figure out, regionally who goes where. But maybe that points to, okay, well, there needs to be, wider restructuring every year based on who truly deserves to get promoted or not. But it was a bit of a surprise to know that there's a team that have got one back to back, from what I understand. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but back to back Div 1 North champions, and they're going to be playing yet again in the Div 1 North next year. Like, surely those guys have deserve a spot up in the next level. So yeah, that was a bit of a shocker to me. I don't know where Tebbs is. I thought he'd be back by now. I don't know. Maybe he's having a bit of a mare. The one other thing I wanted to call out. So this is to do with a varsity game, and this footage was sent in, and I'm gonna post it. I'm not gonna show it now. I'm gonna post it on Sport Tank probably tomorrow. I don't know, what have I got here? Someone has said something. Oh, Tebbs is saying, let me in. So he's there. Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry, mate. I forgot. I bet you've been there ages. I forgot that I control that, but I'm on my mobile, so I don't have the same interface, so I couldn't see you.
I was having a great time. Don't worry about it.
Sorry, mate. Oh, yeah. I was telling everyone everything. I'm sorry about that. Coach Renter said it's either what we have or only put the promotional teams into playoffs and make them national. So it's either what we have or only put the promoted teams into a. Oh yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I definitely think that is a good point, Coach. It feels odd that someone that has a good postseason, consistently doesn't actually get a look in Div 1. The one thing I was going to mention just before we sort of, I'm sure we're going to go back to that because I want to hear what Tebbs has got to say. There was a lad. So let me just sort of frame this. It's a varsity game. It is his last game playing the sport ever. I don't think he's going to go on and play anymore anywhere else. He's played for the Sussex Saxons for 6 seasons. Saxons 6 seasons, yeah, which was a fantastic tongue twister. And he only went and got a pick 6 as a D tackle on Sunday in the varsity game, in his last game ever against their rivals. And I just I'm going to put the footage up because I think it's all. I'll put it up tomorrow. I'm not going to do it now because this connection's been a nightmare tonight. But we've got the footage, and it's everything you'd expect it to be. Like everyone just going crazy, and yeah, just we often talk about the dreamy plays, right? And there was a dreamy pick 6 in the Bournemouth game that was amazing. But this one was a D tackle in his, and last game, varsity game, played for 6 years, clearly loves the sport. His name's, and hopefully I'm going to say this right, but his name's Harry McAvoy. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. So congrats to Harry, and we'll put
yes, very much so.
Well, actually, I'm going to I'm going to send Harry a Sport Tank hat. Where is it? One of these. Because I've got loads of these to give away. So Harry's our first winner of one of these.
That's completely fair.
So, and I need to send you some stuff too, don't I, Tebbs?
Yeah, you do. Otherwise, I'll show up to all the games wearing this blue suit and I'll get laughed at.
That's fine by me.
Oh, fine.
Right, there's a delay, I think, again, mate. Finalists get automatically promoted. Losing semi-finalists playing a promotion game. Yeah, so that to me makes sense. But then if you're a finalist, then you would have got Hold on. Yeah, losing semi-finalist. So you could. The problem is that they need one team to go up from each division to maintain the one team coming down. But that's where I think the issue is. So I think this would work. You could work it out so that it's those 3 teams, SJ, But what if all those 3 teams are the same division? What Bucks need to do is say, well, regardless of how how it falls down in Div 2, we will figure out a restructuring each year that is suitable. And well, I suppose it goes the same for Div 1 as well, because if you've got 3 teams from like one conference going up, which you could potentially have, no, you couldn't. You would have, because they'd meet each other. So you could have 2 teams and then one from another conference going up. It would affect the Div 1. And I think what they've done is they've structured it so that nothing affects Div 1. All of the impact is down in Div 2. That's what it sort of feels like. Well, that's exactly what it is. You'd be looking at ridiculous realignments. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be realignments. And so there's like no fair way of doing it. They want to protect the alignments of Div 1. So I don't. Yeah, it feels like that they're never going to change it, and you are going to always have this. I don't know. Is the answer that there's just no playoffs for Div 2? There's a question for you. Does Div 2 just a couple of extra games, so it's not, I don't know, 8 games, it has 10 games or whatever, and then, winner takes it all from each division? What do you think of that, Tebbs? Or what do you think of that, SJ?
It is very strange, just based on there being players or teams rather that fall into the Liverpool category. I think that something needs to be sorted there, because obviously Liverpool are they're the best team in Div 2 North, and they're gonna stay there for another year.
Sorry, I just thought of another thing. What do you think of this? So there are 6 divisions, right? 6 leagues. Why not split them into 3? So you've got 3 playoffs, and then you align them geographically. Then it's less likely to have a big realignment issue because they're more geographically aligned. Is that an answer, or is that just me just chatting shit?
I mean, it would make sense, but then again, it would be difficult to sort of what would be more difficult, adding a separate thing altogether, or just whatever the current system is we've got right now.
Yeah. Casper. All the Raptors just need to win their division. Yes, that's what we need to say to them. That's a good point. But yeah, so I just it's regardless of being the Raptors or whatever, what we've seen is the best team. Arguably the best team in the North hasn't been promoted for the last 2 seasons. With the more I don't know. Maybe I'll get shot down for suggesting that whole no playoffs thing and more regular season games, but that to me seems the most logical answer here. And then once you're in Div 1, then you get in you got playoffs, and I don't know. People might fucking rip me apart for that, but that's sort of from a logic. If you're looking at like mathematical logic, you can't argue with that, can you? But where you can argue with what's going on in a playoff at the moment.
What I do find strange is that there's no North versus South game. There's just no sort of availability to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, having I imagine Liverpool versus Bournemouth would be, that'd be an amazing game. But we just got no. It's just a shame. I'm just saying it's a shame. I'm not saying let's sort it out. I'm saying it's just a shame. A real shame.
It happened. It's happened numerous times in Britball over the years when there's been North-South splits, even in Uniball and in Senior Ball and in Flag. They'll the various listed champions will say, we should play you, and they challenge each other, and I don't know that it's ever actually ended up with a game being played. Maybe in Flag, but certainly not in Kitted that I've heard of that it happens. But yeah, I think it's just a normal thing as well for those teams. Like, you just want a championship. You're like, right, I want to be a national champion,
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, cool if it happened, but it just, It just won't. You know, if
No.
by design they're already, you know, I suppose. What do you think? Is there a lot at stake for one of those teams if they lose? Like, you know, the league champion. Is that a big stakes thing? I'd be up for it. You know, like.
Well, I feel like it'd be interesting just based on sort of like, you know, Bournemouth are going up. Do you know what I mean? Like they are, but it would sort of be more of an effort of pride on the sense of Liverpool, but then also it could sort of like put a really like
Imagine if Liverpool
dampen the whole.
won that like by a blowout.
You know, we wouldn't say it would do, Coach Rains, but we're just saying like it's a very interesting thing. Like that would, because then that would just prove that Liverpool are the best team in Div 2, but that doesn't matter. They get to stay in Div 2 another one more year.
I'm just posting this link. Sorry, Tebbs, give me a sec.
No, don't worry about it.
It's too late in the uni year. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like the league, like we're 2 weeks away from senior ball now, right? So I've just posted a link. It hasn't posted to Twitch, but I posted it in YouTube and Facebook. That link, if anyone wants to, I should have posted this at the top of the show, and I'll do that moving forward. If you click on that link, you'll be able to come in and join us. You'll go into like a green room first. We'll see that you're there, and then we'll bring you in. If anyone wants to pop in and speak and ask a question or talk, you know, like what we'll probably do. This is pretty much our last Uniball focus rundown. We'll start turning it onto the senior season now. So if you guys have got anything that you want to say, then feel free to do so. We'll ramble for a few more minutes, but I just wanted to offer that up to people. Back to back Div 2 champs before a promo. Yeah.
But I feel like it really,
we'll
it really does come down to, you know, obviously with the current setup. As someone said earlier, just Liverpool just got to win their div. You know?
Yeah. But is it that simple? I suppose. But
well, no, it is.
I don't know.
No, no, that's the thing, Steve. It shouldn't be that simple, but it is.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like I think they've got a point. I think they do have a point. Like we know there's a solution or another way. Are you drinking your champagne yet? Are you like?
That's the end of the show.
What's at the end of the show?
Huh?
Why at the end?
Why?
I just want to see you get smashed or whatever.
On one bottle of
I just like I think I am. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm liking the whole no playoffs. Just play the league. Maybe play a couple more games. You know, so they're a bit more meaningful, and then that's it. Champion is promoted. Like winner, the ranking winner is the champion. That's the person that's promoted. So you don't get a playoffs in Div 2 because of just because of the complexity of it, like we just talked about. I think that I'm actually gonna contact Bucks about it and see what they say. No, I'm not.
No.
But, why do you keep putting your cowboy hat in the way?
Why? Because I was gonna pull the thing into it when we finished talking about Uniball and go on to someone else. But huh? Well, we finished talking about Uniball.
We finished talking about. I think so. I don't know that there's anything else. Have we got? Has anyone got any other points or things they want us to, want to ask us or talk about? I know I posted the link up, but you can also drop stuff in the comments. I don't. Obviously, we'll do our awards and we'll do like a summary of the season. I think it's been a really good season. I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, the scandal stuff was funny. Did you? Oh, yeah, that's a point. Did you see that DMU lost to the University of Leicester?
Oh, did they?
In their varsity game. Yeah,
that's mad. Yeah. That's mad. Well, I guess I get that. That's very interesting, just based on the fact of how poor. I don't really feel bad in saying Leicester's poor performance in Div 1 this year, but that's very, very interesting.
DMU because decent, right?
DMU were like, all nonsense aside, they were very, very good. But I think that's very interesting. In that case, that sort of disproves that Leicester is not going to be a threat in Div 2 Midlands. when they come down, especially if, and it's a big if because I don't know what Bucks are doing, obviously. Are Derby going to be in Midlands? For example, is Huddersfield? I'd say they're probably the most northern in Midlands too. Huddersfield be moved somewhere else. Derby get moved in. No, not a massive scoreline, but still impressive.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the correct score. I mean, it could be. I remember seeing it was low scoring and it was fairly close. So I think he might be right. But yeah, and one thing that we need to do something about this because the guy contacted us, but we've had it confirmed for sure that there's a new head coach at DMU following this thing. So again, I don't know. I don't want to sort of speculate and cause shit, talk shit about it, but it's sort of understandable that that head coach had to step away, the former head coach, and so yeah, the new guy seems quite positive. Wants to sort of, I think he wants to come on and chat and stuff. So that'll be quite. Cool. That'd be very interesting from my perspective. Having sort of a better understanding of DMU anyone else, especially to find his background. Has he been with DMU when they were up in Div 1 a few years ago? Yeah, we can ask him. We've got a guest. I'm going to bring him on.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Steve.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
I can hear you better than Steve.
I've been having my own technical problems, so sorry about that.
Yeah, it's going around. It's like a virus.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to say was, over the Division 2 promotion thing, we treated like the whole season as sudden death because we knew we needed to win out in the division to get promoted. It's a tough division with, good teams. So, for us, winning the division, getting promoted was the first goal. And then the playoffs, still important, but a bonus. So that was the way we looked at it. But if you only put the 6 division winners into the playoffs, you wouldn't get a national champion that wasn't being promoted.
Correct. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's an interesting
either that or you leave it as it is. And I understand that they might not want to have a national game. But I'll be honest, we couldn't do it now. But the first thing my guys were saying was, can we get a friendly with Liverpool? Yeah.
Very good.
So,
of course.
Yeah.
And I imagine the same from Liverpool, right?
Exactly.
They're probably saying the same, right?
Exactly. I'm sure the 2 teams would want to play. It's too late in the year. And obviously, we're really lucky. Our university have supported us massively. So we went overnight and prepared properly for the semi-final.
Oh, very nice.
And we went overnight.
That's very Coach Raines, that is.
Yeah, and we went overnight and prepared properly for the final as well. Yeah.
Good.
And it does make a huge... I'd encourage anyone, finals don't come around often. If you get to one, find a way to do it properly. Find a way to do it properly because, it makes a big difference. We'd done our walkthrough, sorted our admin out, special teams, all that sort of stuff before we left the hotel. So when we got to the ground, it was just into pre-game and ready to play.
Coach, so with social media being a lot more prevalent now, does that do you manage that within the team? Did you say to the lads ignore social media, just don't even take phone calls off of friends and family, just focus on the game? And did you do that yourself? How do you how did you prep your guys for that sort of stuff? 'Cause there's a lot of distractions, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the guys watch your show and your shows, and that's a good thing. But the one thing we emphasize is don't get involved in back and forth on social media, because I don't want my opponent's pre-game speech written by one of my players saying something stupid. And the guys all appreciate that because they hear me saying about, oh, this guy's put this up about you or whatever, you know, and so they know how it works. And again, I just say this season, you know, this season our people, our players at the Bobcats just bought into everything. And I know D2 gets a bit of a bad rep here and there, right? But our guys have done 4 sessions a week. They've worked me harder than I've ever worked in Britball, right? I've never done 4 sessions a week, no matter what team I've been at. But they were there Wednesday afternoon. I'm retired, so it's good for me. Thursday night, Friday night, Sunday. And we're getting turnouts where you can do real work at all of those sessions. So big credit to them, and big credit to our university for backing us too.
And in what way did they back you when you say that? Like
Well,
you said about you were able to travel overnight and stay.
Yeah.
What else was it that they did?
Well, we're classified now first time this year as a performance sport at BU. So they basically support the guys with you know, physio access and all of that sort of stuff. You know, they make all of our arrangements for us. So our committee organised the team, the university organised the club in terms of travel and all of that sort of stuff. There's no hassle with that, and they back us with equipment that we've been able to buy as well. So it's been a great experience. And you know, quick commercial, I'd say any junior player thinking of a university, you shouldn't overlook Bournemouth. So
yeah. I wouldn't expect anything less, coach. You need to try and do a quick plug. This is an interesting point. You know, we all bought into Coach Rain's regime and it paid off immensely. How important is that, do you think, for a team to be successful, for everyone to sort of buy into the culture and, you know, the regime as it's been put here?
Yeah, the buy-in, let me say, it was the other coaching. I got a great coaching staff as well, so it's them as well. But the buy-in is essential because you can provide the best opportunity for people, but unless they're there taking advantage of it, right, and on the same page, and that was the thing, so that, you know, we were running our systems so efficiently at the end of the season, both on O and D. And I'm not kidding you, 80% of the guys you watched on Sunday put pads on for the first time in October. 80%. Wow. We measured it. And I said at the beginning of the season, we're not going to be ready for the first game, but we might be more ready than the opposition because of the COVID thing and the way it was. And that progress has happened through the year.
Wow. Can you talk? So you've got a couple of I think they're your O-Linemen jumping up in the conversations here. Can you talk to us a little bit about the O-Linemen? Because they're sort of they're praising each other here. Chandler saying, you've got Rainhead saying, give the O-line a shout out. Who's your favourite O-Lineman? So I think your O-Linemen are craving a bit of attention. How good were they?
Hey, they know exactly how I feel about them, right? For me, I'm the offensive coordinator as well. Okay, my whole thing starts with the offensive line, right?
So it should.
You can have the best running back in the country, the best wide receiver in the country, but if the running back's on his backside or the quarterback's on his backside and can't throw to the wide receiver, you've got nothing. So O-line is what it's about. And to be honest, you know, Greenwich are a good team, but I think our O-line was the difference on my side of the ball on Sunday. You know, our defense also did a great job on their offense, but you know, we do our little MVPs at the end of the game, and the rest of the team are fed up with the O-line getting it as a group.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so the guys know where it's at. We've got good players, and you know, we've talked about Alfie, and don't overlook Kana Ray, who was the other quarterback. I ran a system this year where the two quarterbacks were completely interchangeable. Someone put up on the stream, have we changed quarterback, right? But we've run all year with a couple of series, change over, a couple of series, change over. And those two guys have just worked so. I've never had a pair of quarterbacks work so well together. They've been brilliant. And Khan's moving on, and whoever gets him in senior football will be really lucky because he's a great kid as well.
Where does he live?
Well, I'm trying to get him to move to Southampton, but
Yeah.
but he was at the London Warriors juniors before. I think he's been around up there with maybe the Kent Exiles as well. I think he might do Bournemouth senior Bobcats this year because obviously he's still at uni. So we'll see. Alfie's got another year at the Seahawks playing junior football because he's just young.
Wow.
And then
That's crazy.
obviously,
So he's playing another year at junior football.
this is his absolute
That's
first year at uni, first year of 11-on-11 football. That heads up
Mad.
just blew me away. Yeah, the for a young guy like that to have the football head to say, "Oh, my knee's not down. I'm still on my feet and go 35 yards." Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it was quality. You've got this one's obviously a bit tongue in cheek, but we'll go with it. Coach, who was your favourite O-lineman this year?
Hey, well, if they're lucky, they might find out at the awards night. But
very nice, very well done.
Just sort of backing up the whole culture thing. He said massively so that the players set the culture so well. They all deserve this season because of the effort they put in. So nice comment from Alex there. What else have we got?
And all the coaches,
coaching
all the coaches are exhausted, by the way. So
I bet, because well, that's an interesting point as well, because it must be hard having to be able to, like, it's fine, students are available, you're retired, but where do you get the rest of your coaching guys from? You know, like it must be quite difficult.
I've been lucky that my guys have been able to work around to be available. Around their work to be available. I mean, as with the other team I coach, we run absolutely on the family work football principle that I really strongly believe in, and that is you look after your family. You need to look after your work, and in uni terms, that's if any of the guys this year, and it happened a few times, saying, "Oh, I've got deadlines, I can't come to practice," they'll get absolutely no grief from me because we will not give them their degree. Right, the university is going to do that.
See, that's very interesting. Have
you come across anything different, Tebbs?
Yes, I've come across basically the opposite of basically saying, like, you're at uni, your work should be done. If you're here, it's not so much if there's grief. Like if you instead of being like, if you've got work to do, then you can be like, okay, that's fine. It's more so, well, why isn't your work done if you're here?
Yeah, I that's really interesting. But Tebbs, I think the thing is, we've supported them, right? So this is where I say the buy-in's important. So they think to themselves, I'll get my stuff done so that I don't have to miss practice. So you get the buy-in and you get the cooperation from them. Whereas if we were being shitty about, what's really important for them at university, the only thing that I get asked about is if something comes after work that's not football. If they sort of like are going to, a cheerleader spectacular, so they can't make practice, that we don't put up with, right?
Yeah.
Well, see, and Tebbs, I would say to those organisations that you know of that have done that, you've got a great example here of the most successful program in the south of England at Div 2 that do support people, and it sort of, I think, do you know what I think happens? And I've seen this my whole life in the sport. People try to mimic the most famous coaches. So either coaches from like telly that they see and on NCAA or NFL, and then or in the UK, it's like they try to mimic like coaches from like films or what they think they should do. And in America, like the coaches are almost like drill sergeants at times. And culturally that doesn't work in the UK. You're not going to get a group. You're not going to get a large group of people putting their time and money and effort into this if you're going to just make them feel like shit, go at them about it while they're there as well. Like I've been in sessions before where the coach is like screaming at everyone that's there because there's people not there, and you're like, well, what the fuck's that got to do with me? Like, so I do think that I've always as a player and as a person responded more to support than I have to like reverse psychology.
Well, it's really, it's really interesting, Steve, because I've got a couple of friends in the States, one that coached at college and professional level, and another one that was really, really good high school in the States, in Florida, won some state championships. And those guys say to me, what's your leverage with the players? What's your leverage? Because like at high school, I support them with their recruitment for college, which can make a difference to their whole life. The college guy says, I've got them, and they're mostly on a scholarship because he was at USC. They're on a scholarship, so they have to behave because their education depends on it. And then professionally, obviously, they're getting paid for it. It's their living. They said, what's your leverage? And my leverage is basically the buy-in. That's what people love over here. People want to play the sport for the love of the game. They want to be on the field, and getting the buy-in is the key that's for me anyway. That's the way I approach it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting hearing coaches questioning you about that. Like, what do you like? They must feel like that you're the magician because, like, they do have leverage over there, Because the other thing over there is like there's an expectation from like your family, your friends, like people that even know. Like even when I went to school, it was like, you played the weekend. Did you win? How many sacks did you get? Like like everyone around you expects you to be on the field if you say you play American football. So that there's this like pressure from like outside in that the coaches can leverage just by saying, oh, you're not going to start, or you're going to you're going to be benched or whatever. So like,
absolutely,
that doesn't exist here. You're like, people don't even know the sport.
Well, I tell you what, you say that I felt a bit of pressure on Sunday. Did you see our sideline? It was like It was like we were playing at home. There was current students, a massive alumni turned up. Really great group of people turned up, alumni, and then we had. I met parents and sisters and brothers had all come down. We had a great crowd, and then when I look on the stream, we've got people on the stream from South Africa, Canada, USA. That are past students at BU. So just a little bit of pressure on. Come on, this is the year we're supposed to do it. So.
You got a lovely comment here from Alfie. So he said it wouldn't have been half as successful without the coaching from Coach Steve and all of my coaches at the Bobcats. So he's just praising you guys, which is really nice. Yeah. So thanks for that, Alfie. Tamara. So this is Ox's daughter. When you have a supporting coaching staff on and off the field, it makes it a lot easier, especially at uni. You want to play more for those coaches. Yeah, I agree with that. I would say it's like that's like definitely someone that like gets brought into the culture of a team and wants to like get excited by that and play for the teammates and as well as the coaches. Like there's nothing better for me like than making a big play or a big tackle or something, coming off the field and then players coming up to me telling me how great that was. That's such a great feeling that it's really hard to replicate outside of this sport. So the culture within the sport is probably the biggest thing that can motivate people. I think it when done correctly. What have we got? We had three to 4 years worth of alumni. We turned Greenwich into a Bournemouth home game. Yeah, I heard the chants. It says, Coach, can you confirm Chandler will rep it as a running back?
I'll say no more than he asked for one opportunity. He got the one opportunity. Unfortunately, he didn't score. That's it.
Fine.
Brilliant. Cool. Well, Tebbs, have you got any more questions for Coach Rains?
Yeah, I do. In terms of, because obviously, like in America, it's not like the recruitment. You get people, you get to look at people. Sort of how like, especially now you're moving up. Sort of how does that change your philosophy on who to basically allow onto the Bournemouth Bobcats team going into next year?
I have never in my life told somebody they can't come onto the team, right? So we encourage participation. I encourage participation. And I'll tell you something, when I was offensive coordinator at Surrey Stingers, there was one guy came out and tried out, and we looked at him, myself and the head coach, and said, this is never going to happen. He ended up being the defensive player of the year, right? Because he was awkward, but he was so awkward that O-Linemen couldn't cope with him either. So, he was. So I learned a lesson from that. Don't write anyone off, right? I'd say the other thing is that the university, like I said, we're a performance sport now. They're very supportive, so they're looking at applications to BU and seeing, and they discuss with me if someone's played at junior football and that sort of stuff, whether we're interested or not, and the other thing is that myself and the senior players and the coaches get to Freshers Fair, and never mind where they put our table, I position myself at the front door, and Steve knows what I'm like. It's sort of pretty relentless. It's pretty relentless. This last year gone by, I was wearing all the rings and asking them if they wanted to opportunity to go after a ring. So we had a really good recruitment, which is why we fielded 60 players at the weekend.
So for those just touching on that, so for those of you that don't know, Coach Rains has been my head coach in the UK for the most number of years. I don't know how many it is, but we've travelled a lot and won a lot of games together and a couple of championships, and it's Coach Rains is one of the people I look up to massively in the sport. So
and I'm really old. I'm really old, so I was doing it before you arrived as well. So I've got a couple more.
You've been around.
It's just sort of, again, it's very strange to like look at the sort of the differences between like what Coach Rains is saying, because in my first year at Lincoln, and like all the people that sort of went to the initial taster session, people were turned away, like they had.
This is you're describing like the most toxic stuff I've ever heard, Tebbs. That's crazy. Why were they turning people away? Here's the. I thought that I thought I wasn't going to get in. Like there were people going around with like pen and paper saying, oh, like if someone said to you, oh, what's your name? You knew that you were going to be on the squad, and I remember because I was picked second. I remember that, and it's just I just thought that once you reach a certain level, or a certain confidence in the players that are going to play for you who have played previously, that you could say, okay, well maybe not, maybe something else for you.
I think again though it comes down to this inclusivity and also the buy-in from the players, because I can understand that if you've got maybe 2 or 3 guys trying to run a team, they couldn't cope with 60 guys. Now I'm fortunate I've got a big coaching staff because I recruit coaches as well. I inherited some really great people that were already at Bournemouth that had done a lot of the foundation work that helped us build what we've got now. But I've also gone out and got people in, right? But the senior players help you with bringing people along as well by including them in the groups and making sure people get a rep and that sort of stuff. And of course, we get people that drop out. We had people that dropped out this year. But that doesn't mean to say it wasn't a good thing that they got to try.
Yeah, but this mentality, again, all I can think of, all that springs to my mind, and there may be other motives, but it's like the coaches are trying to replicate the whole US thing where they're saying, you're cut, like like Bob, what you're describing, Tebbs, and I suppose all I've ever really known is Coach Rains in this country, so I'm struggling with
Yeah,
it. But
I mean, again, it's honestly it's more refreshing to hear more than me going.
I
What
mean, Coach, I think we were one of the first teams in the UK to have women playing in the men's teams.
We
right?
were. Yeah, one of the
If I
first,
remember right.
not the first, but one of the first. We were, and I still think that's a great thing, and I think it should be encouraged. Greenwich had a couple of female players on Sunday, so yeah, I think that should be encouraged, definitely.
Have you got? I think you've got a female player at the Bobcats. Actually, I think I saw a picture of her on Instagram.
No,
is that right, or am I getting that wrong?
we don't have a female player at the Bobcats. We do at the Thrashers.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, we do at the Thrashers. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So it's all those pictures of me practice. It's difficult to know. I had trouble this year knowing who I was with at times. So, what day is it? Which team is it? Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is quite a good question from SJ. Are there any games next season that you've got your eyes on?
Yeah, about 8 of them, I think, in there.
Yeah.
And the one that we will have the most focus on is whoever we get first, because this has to be the way you do it. So, the other thing I just want to give a big up to the other coaches in Southwest too, because we got a real good film exchange thing going. So the guys were doing the job properly, exchanging film and letting people prepare properly.
Right. So, I think that's an interesting point, because I think game film sharing is something that's never really been done that well, or isn't done that well consistently across this sport in the country. Like I've heard examples of teams taking that had live streamed a game that took the live stream down because the team they were playing, they didn't want them to see any footage of them, and just and then or you get the I remember Tony Allen saying once, I'm all for film share, but if I'm sharing 2 camera angles, HD footage, and someone just sends me something off of a phone, it's a bit of a piss take. So I think there does need to be something some minimum standards applied, and then that encouraged. Yeah. But it's almost people here see it as I don't know, it's gonna ruin.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
or whatever.
We're not in a situation where we could do it right now, but it should be compulsory. Film exchange should be compulsory. If you visit a US college, or even my friend at the high school in Florida, they've got their opponent's last 3 films, and that's what they're preparing on. And the opponent's got their last 3 films. And I think the only time I get a bit scratchy about it is if somebody doesn't want to exchange with me, then why would I want to give them film? But I do believe in film exchange.
No, I do. Look, as a player, I believe in it because I can study. I can just, it's like more immersive version of the sport, right? And you'll know because I've been your player. I love to read an offense and say, I think this is going to be the play, and I'll tell everyone. And
I mean, that you can
pick
up.
Part of it. I look for tendencies. I look for successful plays and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you can pick up keys.
To me, that's part of the
give
game.
You the opportunity.
I'm all for it. We've got. Yeah, exactly. So and the classic that I always see is, I don't know, a play works really well. Let's say a jet sweep, and then all they do is flip it for the next play. I always prep our guys for that. So look, they just did well on that play. Expect it again. Look out for them flipping it, and it might take them a couple of plays to do it. But that, it's all that sort of stuff that I love. But I love being on the field doing it. I get frustrated on the sideline. I love to be part of it in the middle of it all. So I'm still, I still think I've got some playing days left in me.
And another important thing is you should always scout yourself on film, because without realizing it, you can set up your own tendencies. When I was setting up the Bobcats playbook this year, because it's my first year at the Bobcats, I realised I built something in which would have been a dead giveaway because we only ever did it on one play, so I had to put a couple more plays in so that we did something else out of it as well.
Yeah. That's another thing to sort of look for. Alex has said Steph Wyant, and I hope I'm saying her name correctly. She plays senior ball for the Bobcats.
Yeah.
Sam Quay said committee, senior players, and coaches are all creating an atmosphere of brotherhood and accepting all players. I feel it more this year than any. Love my guys. So I assume you know who Sam is.
Yeah, Sam's our running back who got a really serious injury in about game 3.
He was the guy doing the filming on Sunday.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to give a shout out to Luke Clark, our running backs coach, who said to Sam, "If we make the final, you're going to be on the field with us, right?" And he, out of his own money, bought some Sam Quay stickers, and all the O-line and all the running backs had the sticker on their helmet.
Oh, no way. That's awesome. Send us a picture of it. I'd love to post that, if that's okay.
Well, Sam's probably got them. Yeah.
Another shout out for Coach Clark, just on it, saying putting the running backs through the paces. I'm just trying to see what else there is. Do uni coach? So I think this is one for you, Coach. Do uni coaches look to recruit players on the percentage or player graduating? So is there any academic stuff that? What does he mean by that? Is it academic related that he's talking about?
Yeah,
I think it's percentage of players graduating. Sorry.
Yeah. So am I like, if I've got 30 leaving this year or 20 leaving this year, am I looking for 20?
You're looking to backfill 20. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we open the door. Yeah, it's an open door policy. So if they want to show up, then show up. I mean, we bought more equipment this year because we have more players than the BU Bobcats had previously had. So we didn't have enough helmets and shoulder pads. The university supported us, and we got more helmets and shoulder pads. So we were able to suit up a 60-man squad. Yeah. I mean, I know people go on about the size of my squads. Now you're finding out why, because I don't turn anyone away. That's why the Breens kept saying last year, "Oh, the Thrashers have got a massive squad." Yeah, but it's because we're inclusive and we want people to have the opportunity.
I think this is the last comment. Thank you, Coach. Can we get a Gloucester versus Bobcat game film now that you've won?
Yeah, Daniel, I promised it, and I tell you what, as soon as we finish this, I'll send it. Right?
There you go. Cool. Have you got any more questions for?
No. It's been very interesting.
Yeah, no, Coach, thank you so much for coming on. I think we sort of picked your brain a bit more than you were expecting, but really, really good chatting to you.
I always enjoy coming on and chatting to you guys. So thanks for what you do.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Because it's the exposure it's the exposure the sport needs, which isn't coming from elsewhere. And I won't say any more on that because you could do another show on it.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that offline. See if we can get you on again. He's had another pop at it. He's had a few. He said it a few times, but he's asking straight up here, Coach.
This is Ray. This is not Chandler. Was the one who got a rep at RB. Well, yeah, Ray. Yeah, I love you. Probably yes. Then.
Brilliant. Someone's asking for a score prediction. I know that's not going to come out of here. Sam saying she's going to hand it off to.
Was that Brunel? Brunel versus
Sam,
Bobcats?
Sorry, he, not she.
Yeah, was that Brunel versus Bobcats?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because we're not in their division.
Right? You're going to be
we're not in their division unless they think we're in the playoffs already, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's it. That's what they think.
Grateful for. So.
That'd be amazing. What a prediction that.
Yeah, if that comes true, I'll be grateful.
Yeah, well, anyway, thanks, Coach, and I don't know why, but this thing hasn't let me take that comment down. What stopped? Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, we can all hear you.
My connection went. But yeah, we'll talk about getting you on with like a proper structured, like some things to actually talk about that you want to talk about. That would be cool. So you're not sort of caught off guard. But yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Hey,
congrats again.
I was one of the students. Some of the students. This isn't the other sort of stuff we do. Some of the students at the university are doing their media courses, and so we had a documentary for a course running on us, and they sat me down at practice on last Wednesday and said, can we interview you? And I said, yeah. And they said, have you ever been interviewed before? And I don't know if you remember, I actually worked for the BBC for a while, so I was trained in Salford for media interviews. So at the end of it, I said, how did I do? They said, you're pretty good. so yeah, I'm happy to come on anytime.
Yeah, awesome. All right, cool. Well, thanks, coach, and thanks for all of your, your teammates and everyone jumping. Your players, sorry, not your teammates. Your players jumping in and making it quite fun in the comments. So they're a good bunch. Yeah, they're quite lively, which is good. I like that. And that was quite apparent off of the live stream as well. Like they were, there was a good little. I suppose because they were winning that house, but it was enjoyable to watch. So.
Well, Steve, some of these guys, 80% of them started football in October. They've never lost.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't know what losing. They don't know what losing is. So it's like, and for them, every season ends in a final. So they've got a bit of learning.
Tell them to keep it up. You'll be in the Prem next the year after next.
Exactly. If we could do that for them, it'd be really good. Yeah.
God, that would be tremendous. But yeah. Anyway, thanks again, coach, and we'll connect soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks, coach.
Tebbs, have you got anything to round up with? I don't think we've got anything else to say, have we?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, with this we're gonna put an end to the Uniball season so far, and there's only one way that I know how to end the season, ladies and gentlemen. To end it, ladies and gentlemen, because some people aren't champions, but some people would act like champions, and then that's me, right? Smells good, ladies and gentlemen. Let's put that back up there. So I'm going to take my headset off. For formerly Gridiron Hub, for the new Sport Tank, for the Rundown, for Uniball, for Div 2, for the Bournemouth Bobcats, for the Liverpool Raptors, for SGS Pride and for Newcastle Raiders, and for the UE Bullets and the Nottingham Gold. Look at this cowboy hat. Simply.
Are you pouring it in?
Simply delicious, ladies and gentlemen. Simply.
Are you going to drink that? Or are you going to put it on your head?
Oh, mate. I'm going to have a quick sip of this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fantastic. And I'm going to have a quick sip while it leaks all over my bedroom floor. And I'm going to take my headset off. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the rundown, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. If you tuned in for one episode, if you tuned in for all of them, thank you very much. And we will see you next week for hopefully the Uniball Awards. And it's all over my desk.
Quality, mate. Enjoy yourself. Thank you, everyone. And jump into Sport Tank, jump on the website and look out for the giveaways and stuff. Awesome. Take it easy.